Hello friends, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before. I'm Erin. So this video will probably be pretty short and sweet. I just wanted to do a review on a movie that I watched over the weekend. Everybody knows I like creepy things and creepy movies. I watch different paranormal shows that are on the TV. I watched Ghost Hunters when that was on TV, and I still continue to watch Ghost Adventures. So Zak Bagans, who is one of the lead investigators from Ghost Adventures, had made a documentary called The Demon House. And pretty much the Demon House is a house in Gary, Indiana that had a whole bunch of creepy stuff go on. I think I'm going to go ahead and make a video about the Demon House itself and the documentary a little more in detail, but I just kind of wanted to give my review of the movie itself. So, to start off with, in the beginning of the movie, Zak says that the movie is cursed. And the reason why he thinks it's cursed is because it's taken him a very long time from the time that they started filming this until its release now. I think it took 3 or 4 years, which is a long time. Just to backtrack a little bit, as far as creepy things go, the whole premise and idea of demons and what they do scares the crap out of me. I don't like the idea that something could come and pretty much take over your body so you are not you, and can do horrible things to you and whoever else is in your house or wherever. One thing that I have learned about demons is that they don't necessarily stick to one place. They can go from place to place and pretty much do as they please. So with all of that in mind, I wasn't even sure that I was going to watch this movie to begin with, just because, like I said, the idea creeps me out. I'm not going to say I'm one way or the other, that I'm 100% believer that this is something that could happen. It's much like my theory about aliens. Do I think they could exist? Absolutely. Do they scare the crap out of me with thinking that they could exist? Absolutely. So it's the same thing with demons and everything that goes along with them. I think that there is a probability that these things could happen, and the whole idea behind it just really creeps me out. And after watching this movie, it creeped me out even more. Another backtrack, and then I'll get back to the movie review itself. One of my favorite horror movies is The Exorcist. Now, The Exorcist was a book before it was a movie, and it is also based on a true story. However, in the original Exorcist, it is a little boy and his family, and the little boy is possessed. And that's what gave the writer the idea to write The Exorcist. So, to start off with the movie The Demon House, the preview of this came out, I want to say probably toward the end of February. So I knew the movie would be coming out soon after that. I didn't know when exactly. Zak had posted it on his Twitter, as well as the Demon House's Twitter itself had posted the trailer for the movie. And to be honest with you, the whole idea that it creeped me out so much that it took me until probably March 12th or 13th to actually watch the trailer. And then from there, I tried to decide if I was actually going to watch the movie or not. The movie came out on March 16th, and I did end up watching it the day that it came out. Now, like I said, the whole idea of demons and what have you scares the crap out of me. So I knew that this movie was going to scare me, and I knew that I probably would not be able to sleep that night. Every time I watch The Exorcist, the same thing happens. Like I said, it's just the whole idea behind it creeps me out. So then it gets my mind a-running, which I also already typically have insomnia anyway. So watching creepy crap and then going to bed is probably not my best interest, but I do it more often than I should. So with this movie, it was definitely creepy. It's one of those things where if you're a believer, it's going to make you even more of a believer. If you're not a believer, you might just brush it all off as stuff that can be explained, or that, you know, it's trick of the camera, or whatever else may be going on. But the one thing, whether you're a believer or not believer, that's very intriguing about this whole movie is all the people and officials who have come forward to speak about the case itself. So I should probably go back and start out with the Demon House itself is a house that's in Gary, Indiana that Zak bought sight unseen after he had heard a national news story about a woman and her 3 children who were essentially terrorized and had different weird things happen, including her son being possessed by whatever was in the house. So I think what scared me the most when I first started watching this movie, and this is kind of another tangent I'm going off on, but this is why this movie really creeped me out, was before I had watched the trailer, known when this was coming out, I would say probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, I had a terrible nightmare. I won't go through the whole entire nightmare because that'll add on too much time here, but the Reader's Digest version of it is, I had a dream that something I couldn't see was choking me in my sleep, and when I finally woke up, I looked in the doorway to the bedroom that was cracked open, and there was a big, huge, tall, dark figure standing in this red glowing doorway pointing at me. That was the end of the dream. I woke up in a sweat. I don't normally remember my dreams. I definitely remember that one quite vividly, and it definitely scared the crap out of me. If you guys see flashes behind me, it's from cars going down the street. It's not some magical spooky thing happening. Anyway, so I had that dream, and it scared me. To start off this movie, Zak talks about how before he had learned about the story or what was going on with the house, he had a nightmare. And in this nightmare, there was a 12-foot tall goat man who was breathing black smoke into his mouth. Now, in my dream, the figure didn't look like a goat man to me per se. That's one of the things that's kind of foggy. It was definitely a dark, tall figure though that was in the doorway and was pointing at me. So when I heard that, I gotta tell you, I had absolute chills. For those of you who don't follow all this stuff about demons and whatnot, one of the forms that they can take on is they have like the face of a goat, and sometimes they'll have the hooves of a goat, like their legs look like goat legs. Sounds kind of cheesy when you talk about it, but if you look at pictures, they can be pretty scary looking. Anyway, so that was part number 1 that scared the crap out of me. So anyway, after I kind of gathered myself from that, we continued watching the movie. My boyfriend was watching with me. Probably about 20 minutes into the movie, I literally had to pause it because I thought I was going to throw up. I just, for whatever reason, I got so sick to my stomach and nauseous, and I just had to pause and kind of gather myself, and eventually I did start to feel better enough to watch the rest of the movie. But if you're into the paranormal type of things and demons and evil spirits and what have you, one of the effects that they can have on you is that they make you feel sick. So one of the things that I also forgot to mention in the very beginning of the movie is there's actually a legit warning that tells you to watch at your own risk. And again, if you're into demons and how they can work, as I stated before, they don't necessarily stick in one place. They can go from place to place to place, from person to person, and he actually writes in his warning that sometimes they can go through electronic devices. Now that part I'm not too sure about. I'll just have to take his word on it. It was just really weird to me that out of nowhere I had felt fine all day, that I would just get that sick to my stomach just like that. It was very bizarre, very strange. I have to admit that when I was going through that, that's all I could keep thinking about, and I actually contemplated not watching the rest of the movie, but I did end up watching it. So anyway, as I said, my boyfriend watched this movie with me, and he's not a huge paranormal believer or is into paranormal things as much as I am, so he kind of, watches by association. He does find them interesting, so it wasn't like he was dragging his heels watching this movie. It's one of the few things that he's sat down and watched the whole thing through with me, and he was definitely intrigued too. And I think the thing that's most intriguing about this documentary is all the officials and stuff that come forward. There are CPS workers who have talked about it. Obviously, the priest that did the exorcism himself talks in the movie. Police officers and other various people come forward and speak about this experiences that this woman and these children had. And their accounts of the story that goes on, they definitely make everything 10 times more believable. At least they did to me. Just because of who they were and what their status was as far as their jobs and such. I mean, you don't typically see police or CPS workers coming up and talking about a child that was possessed. So, while all the filming and such that was done was very Ghost Adventures-esque, I will say that this movie was more, I would say, background and accounts than actual investigation. Now, don't get me wrong, they do go into the house, and there are different pieces of evidence that they present. Whereas with Ghost Adventures, I would say they probably do like a quarter of background and history and things that they find out about the location that they're at. So different facts and stuff, and then the rest is all investigation. This was very much him trying to get down to the bottom of the original story of the woman and her 3 children, who, by the way, she refused to be a part of his documentary. For whatever reason, there is a hint that she may be being paid by a different film person who is trying to make a movie on this as well. So maybe she just couldn't talk to Zak. I mean, he brings that up, but he also portrays it that she says that she doesn't want to have anything to do with it because she feels that the darkness that was in the house that she has cleansed her and her family of is associated with Zak, and if she spoke to him, then there was a chance that it could go from Zak to her. So like I said, it was very much about the whole background situation. He did talk to other family members that were there and witnessed what had happened. He also talked to previous people who had lived in the house, and I will say that the story with one of the previous people and her children kind of gave me the chills from what happens to her daughter after they leave the house. And, you know, they're done, they visited the house, and probably like 3 or 4 weeks later, an event happens with her daughter, which leads them to bring her to the priest to have an exorcism performed on her as well. So overall, I would give this movie 2 thumbs up in my opinion. If you're a believer, it's definitely something that you'll enjoy. If you like Ghost Adventures, this is definitely a film you'll enjoy. I can't comment on a skeptic's point of view because this is stuff that I do believe in. I do believe in paranormal stuff. Like I said, the idea of demons scares the crap out of me. The whole premise around them scares the crap out of me. So this is definitely a movie that creeped me out. And as I had predicted before I watched it, I knew that I wouldn't get much sleep that night, and I absolutely did not. I probably maybe slept 2 or 3 hours. Something crazy. I just could not fall asleep, and my mind was just running. So in any event, I think that if you are a paranormal enthusiast and this is things that you like, you'll definitely enjoy this movie. It's worth... I didn't end up buying the documentary. I just rented it on YouTube. You can either buy the file or you can rent it. And I would definitely recommend it if you're into the paranormal. So all in all, I really enjoyed this documentary. And I definitely would sit down and watch it again. Although I'm sure I'll be creeped out yet again. So that's it on kind of my movie review for this. Like I said, I am planning on doing a more in-depth video about the demon house itself, the whole story, and then leading up to Zak's documentary. When he said that this movie was cursed, he kind of wasn't kidding. You definitely have to watch it to understand what I mean by that, just from weird things that happen to the different cast members and such. So, like I said, look forward to seeing that more in-depth video about going over everything. This, I just kind of wanted to give my first-hand review as to whether or not I liked the movie. Definitely enjoyed it. So, if you guys like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. If you are interested in seeing the future video that I do a little more in-depth on the movie, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you just like my channel in general, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!